Hi, everyone. We want to thank you for tuning in to the Educators of Tomorrow. Today, I want to talk about a specific topic that I keep getting emails about. I'm not sure if you ladies have been getting the same question,
all
but
the time.
It's about risky play and what exactly is risky play. And when you look up risky play, you're generally going to get a generic answer that just tells you that it's a thrilling and exciting form of physical play that involves uncertainty and the risk of physical injury at the same time. When talking about this type of play, it's going to incorporate safe risk in relation to a child's age, possibly their size, motor skills, and their comfort level. When you think about this type of play, you think about examples of climbing trees, swinging on ropes at rapid speeds, using dangerous tools such as like fire, chainsaws, different types of machinery or anything that you kind of would generally still be cautious as an adult to even play with. So it's definitely a serious topic when you're thinking about children using these items.
Exactly.
I personally do not have kids of my own besides my students, so I am against the risky play. I'm not for it. I've had the chance to work at a school that was an outdoor school where kids are climbing trees, climbing fences, jumping off of the play structures, and I wasn't for it because as a person, I'm just thinking like, I don't want to do that incident report. I don't want to be responsible, but at the end of the day, some children learn better that way.
Exactly.
I actually saw the difference in my parents. It seemed like they were a little bit more excited to pick their children up from an outside school than just picking them up from a regular center or facility, shall I say. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I'm just against it right now.
No, that makes sense. Well, I know you said you don't have children. Let me ask you this. Are you more concerned about the lash from the parents' perspective, or if you had a child, do you think you'd be more lenient to the risky play considering it's your child and you don't have to write an incident report because it's your child?
I guess I could put it like, if you put it that way,
yeah, like it makes sense, right? That's why I say it's a big gray area for stuff like this.
No,
Angel, why do you say that?
No.
Well, you're a parent. Tell us why do you say that?
Yeah, I got two, and I think my first one, she wasn't as risky as my second one.
Oh, wow.
My second one,
it's that second child. That second child always turning up.
she climbed on tables, like the little wall thing that's on the wall. She climbed on that at 6 months old.
6 months old. She was out there
now. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
do you think it has made life as a parent harder?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how old is your youngest now?
She's 2.
She's 2.
You know they say when they move fast like that, it's possibly another one coming. Okay.
But anywho, the risky play, I feel like I should have let her climb on the table and stuff like that. But at the same time, I was home alone.
It's scary.
Right.
And if she broke her arm, that would have been on me.
Right.
Exactly. It's scary.
No, so I feel like even with being a parent, it wouldn't change your view on risky play.
On risky play. That makes sense.
It does.
All right, Angel, I think that was really awesome to hear from a parent's perspective.
It was.
So we actually have had a ton of listener questions about this topic. Like, a lot of you guys have seen interest in this topic. So the main one that kind of stuck out to all three of us was pretty interesting. Is it better to take risk or to play it safe? I think that's a topic that has such a great area to it. Because as we just heard Angel say, as a parent, she's going to say play it safe. I mean, because she's got her 2-year-old climbing on tables and bouncing off walls.
Right.
And it's, it's scary.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I can also see how it's better to take risks because you don't want to have a child that's sheltered.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have a child that's scared to go out into the world and do stuff. But then when you don't play it safe and you choose to take the risk, that's when you have the injuries. That's when you have children that tend to be that daredevil and possibly get hurt. That's when you have children who tend to possibly be more resilient, whether it's to law enforcement, to parents, to future schools in general. So I think it's something that can be such a gray area, and it's kind of scary to think about because you want to let your children explore, whether that's climbing a tree or playing on the playground, swinging on something that shouldn't be swung on.
Right.
It's like, what's that line? What's that boundary?
I'm glad you actually. Oh, go ahead, Angel. I'm sorry.
But if you take that risk and they do get hurt and they go to the hospital, you have CPS.
Oh, CPS
All
coming to
that.
look at you. Yeah.
And
That's
then
true.
You looking
It's
like
not
the
funny,
crazy
I'm
one.
sorry.
That's true, though.
But I get what you're saying, yeah.
That's true. I mean,
so-
yeah, because you have a child that is, you know, being the person to take the risk, and then you have them going to school with bruises on their shoulders and on their
Right.
knees and whatever, so forth and so forth from taking these risks. And then you have not only CPS, but you have teachers looking at you crazy,
Yeah.
or you have other parents. So why aren't you
Because
watching
as
your
an
child?
educator, we want you
Exactly.
guys to know we are supposed to report things that we see
Exactly.
and that we notice, especially if it seems inconsistent. So
Exactly.
I've been in a situation where I had a child that had the Mongolian spots, and it actually looked like a bruise.
A bruise, and you have to
My
report it.
co-teacher reported it, and then when we really came down to the conclusion, they did an investigation. We were really in the wrong, but I mean, especially with COVID going on right now, it's more hard for the teachers to communicate with the parents about things that are going on because you work for these companies that don't want you to go overboard. So they don't want you personally texting them, and then we have these features and these apps like Tadpoles and things like that, Bright Wheels, where you can message with the parent. But how broad is a person going to be? How determined are you going to be to get that answer where you're going to text someone and ask them, are they abusing their child?
Exactly.
You're not, you
Exactly.
know. So
Well, why do your child have this bruise?
right,
or-
exactly.
bruise.
You
So
know.
it makes it harder to identify things, and I think, like, back to what you were saying, Nadia, about whether or not it's going to cause or encourage resilience. I think it might cause it a little bit because, like me as a teacher, like I said before, I'm going to be a little more resilient to wanting to do that and be that person to ask those type of questions and things like that. But it is definitely a gray area overall.
It's a gray area, and
It
I say
is.
that too because where's that boundary? Where's that line? Because
Exactly.
risky play in an outdoor setting could be completely different in an indoor setting, in a classroom setting. Risky play in an indoor setting could be a child climbing on a table and jumping off like it's a cliff, or a child climbing on the shelf in the block center thinking it's a cliff, or like you're
Oh,
jumping
my
off
kids
an
doing that
airplane.
now with this.
it's
Please cancel
scary.
the floor is lava. They're doing that right now. They think that they're supposed to jump
The
up on
floor
stuff,
is
and I'm
lava.
like, no, we will play that outside or on something else.
But that's why I say it's a gray area, because I remember vividly the floor is lava. Playing it as a kid, that's like the best memory I've had. Because you literally are in that child mindset where you're jumping and you're like, oh my God, the floor, I don't want my feet to burn. Like,
Right.
you're in that
Right.
mindset to where you think, I'm about to die. Like, you're jumping
Yeah.
on lava. And
Right.
it's like, again, that lineup, because you don't want to mess up their imagination.
Yeah.
They're a kid. You know, you
Imagination is a
don't want
wonderful
to.
thing.
Exactly. You don't want to instill too much fear in them, but you also want them to develop the right sense of fear to know when too far is too far.
Yeah,
You know?
right.
And thinking about that, we also keep breaking down a little bit more to the 6 categories of risky play in general. We have great heights, which include children climbing trees or anything from a scary height. We have rapid speeds, children swinging on vines, ropes, playground slings, sliding on a sled, roller skating, you know, things like that.
Ooh, I remember that.
We have
day.
my favorite, dangerous tools, you know, things like knives, bows and arrows, you know, farm equipment, things like that. We have dangerous elements such as fire, anything hot, you know, deep bodies of water such as lakes or even the ocean. And then we have, rough and tumble, which is my boy's favorite at work. Rough and tumble, you know, boys love to keep it rough and keep it tumble, so that's pretty self-explanatory. And then we have our last one, which is disappearing and getting lost. And I think Angel can probably attest. That's probably the scariest
Yes.
thought is
Yes.
disappearing. And you know,
Your child
kids they
walking off.
think
Oh
they're
my
they
God.
think they're playing hide and seek.
They do.
But to a parent or to a caregiver, they're like, oh my God, I lost a child or I lost a kid.
Exactly, and I had my kid just like literally run across the street, and she was not even 2 years old yet. And I was like,
And it's scary.
I just panicked right then and there. Like, no,
Yeah,
you
it's scary.
This is not hide and seek. I'm
Right.
not playing tag with you. Get your butt over here.
Back over
like,
here.
type
And
thing.
exactly, you want to let them be freedom and have that independence, but again, where is that line to let children know, okay, this is unsafe, honey, you can't do that right now,
Right.
Exactly.
versus letting them explore and be a child.
Exactly.
And also, speaking about that line and boundary of what not to cross, we have to take into consideration the families that have one child versus having, you know, 3 or 4 multiple children.
Right.
You know, with that first child, that's your only child. That's the sole reason of you being a parent, is protecting that one child, versus having multiple children where it's like, you know, all hell breaks loose. You know, as long as nobody's breaking an arm, everything's okay. You know?
Exactly.
I know Yada has some notes about that. What do you think about that, Yada?
You know, I come from a household where I'm the only girl. I have 2 brothers, and it seemed like for me, my mom was more open to us being risky, open to us doing what we wanted to do.
Would you say because you had
because
siblings?
I had an older sibling that's like, you're responsible for her. So if anything that I did wrong or a little too risky, it fell on my older brother.
Exactly.
And I always was doing stuff because I'm going with an older boy and a younger boy, because I'm the middle child, of course. So I'm that fire child, but we're going with a group of guys, or I'm going with a group of boys. So I was the one that was riding the mountain bikes through the woods, coming home with ticks and stuff on me. And I mean, I liked it. I loved it. Everybody thought I was going to be a tomboy, and now I'm just the total opposite. I hate outside. I hate insects. I love getting my nails done and things like that. So now I'm a little bit more closed in than trying to be, rebellious. And I think that comes with age and due time. So,
So you think definitely you having the opportunity to be risky as a child prevented you from having to be risky as a young adult?
Definitely.
Okay, good.
I feel like the more things that my mom didn't let me do, those are the things that I went out my way to try to do. So you always hear people saying like, I'd rather, if you're gonna do it, I'd rather you do it at home
or with me.
So and I didn't have a dad in my life. I have a father, but I didn't have a father figure in my life on a day-to-day basis to let me know, okay, this is okay, this isn't okay. My brothers pretty much played that role. My mom, she did medical billing and coding, so she was in a doctor's office on the other end, not as a doctor checking me out, but at the same time, it was just like, okay, well, if your brother is okay, I'm pretty sure that you'll be okay too. Yeah.
What do you think, Angel?
I feel the same because like I grew up in the country and stuff.
The country.
Southern girl.
And no, I'm not a Southern girl. I'm from New Jersey.
So what is country in New Jersey, sweetie? I'm sorry.
I was raised down here, but I was born there. But I'm not
born and raised in Jersey.
For the listeners that are just now tuning in, we're located in North Carolina. Yes. You don't know.
Okay, so I was living with my sister and my oldest brother, and he's like maybe 7 years older than me.
Okay.
So he was the rough one. So I used to love when we went outside on the trampoline. He used to flip me and my sister. We'd cry, because we almost broke our necks.
And you're a little girl, so he's a boy,
But hey, we had fun. I used to say, do it again. So I did get that risky play, but at the same time, now I'm protective over my own kids.
Your own kids,
don't flip my girl. Don't even with their father want to flip and
you're
do
like,
all this. And I'm like, listen, they ain't boys.
Yep.
You don't have no boys, and you're not getting one, but like.
Yeah, so do you think, I know, because I kind of found a similarity, both of you had an older sibling or older siblings. So do you think that made it easier because you had the older sibling as like a quote-unquote protector that made it easier for you to be risky?
Yeah, I feel like because I knew my brother wouldn't go far, and he would pick me up if I'm hurt. So at the same time, I'm like, hey, I know I'm safe, so.
Yeah. And see, it's funny because I had the exact opposite experience as a child. I was not allowed to do anything. I could not jump off a table. I could not even run outside without getting yelled at, to be honest with you. So it's like, I felt like that made me more resilient. If anything, being told that I had to play it safe made me want to be risky because I was deprived that as a child. I mean, fortunately, I turned out to be a pretty play it safe kind of young adult. But as a child, all you want to do is play it risky, whether you're allowed to or whether you're not allowed to. And I think when you're allowed to play it or keep do risk, I think yes, there's a chance for potential harm, but again, that gray area, you're also not trying to go around the way to do that risky behavior because you get in trouble for it. You're not going out of your way to hide it from your parents. At least when you're allowed to do risky play or engage in risky play, you're learning again that boundary. You're learning, okay, last time I did this, I got hurt, so let me not do that again. You know what I'm saying? You're learning. You're learning, and a big word is fear. Fear, I mean, people think it's a negative experience, but you want your child to learn fear. This is my opinion. You ladies chip in whenever you feel, but I feel like that fear is a good thing to learn.
I do too.
You know?
I was just, as I'm taking all of this in and I'm thinking about everything I've been looking at over the past few weeks, there was actually a case that came up back in Florida, I think is where it was located. There was a little boy, he was only 14 years old, and he's watching wrestling all the time and wanting to, act like he's a wrestler. He's imitating these acts that he's seeing on the television, not even knowing that they're not real, on a 6-year-old, and he accidentally killed her. So it led up to a really, really traumatic ending for him, for his family, for the other child's family. But it's just one of those things where, like you're saying, this whole risky play thing is a big gray area overall. I'm not sure if he was the only child or if he had other siblings, because why would he be 14 wrestling with a 6-year-old? But it happens. It happens every day. We have people that, like I said before, you're in a single parent household, so you may not have someone that can watch your children, and you might be leaving your older child there with your younger child just for a little bit. And now that I'm in this field, I'm learning what is okay and what is not okay, and that is definitely not okay. If you can't get a sitter, people, take your kids with you wherever you go. When you go inside the store, do not leave your child in the car. That is ultimately risky. It's not risky play, but it is a risky situation.
Exactly.
These children are our future.
They are. And it's kind of scary when you put it that way, because it's the truth.
Right.
I think, again, we have to instill these things like fear into them. Not instill them as in punish them, but allow them to, engage in risky play to a certain extent for them to understand their own boundaries.
Exactly.
It involves a lot of experimentation and honestly, just kids just pushing themselves and pushing their limits to figure out what will happen.
But
you know what I'm saying?
But then again, they do get hurt and then wants to do it again, just like I said when I was a kid.
Right, you were a kid, exactly.
You still want to do it again because you ain't dead yet, but you just got a little scratch.
A little scratch, exactly. So again, that's that gray area that's so scary, is that gray area, because we just don't know.
You never know.
And with that uncertainty in that gray area, we want to leave it up to our viewers. We want you guys to send in some stories, go on our page, write us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about this broad, because it's such a broad topic, so many gray areas, and we want to hear opinions. And, we'll possibly shout out one in our next week's episode. And I think with that, we can wrap it up. My name is Nadia.
I'm Yada.
I'm Angel.
We want you guys, don't forget, children are our future, and us ladies here are the educators of tomorrow.
Thank you.